Hit that like button. I went Hollywood for a year or two. I'm sorry about our panic. Don't like the party or be around it. I gotta solve a car back door, but I'm too real to even allow it. So I got my Ravens hat on, man. The heart of steel country, man. Going to work like this today, man. And man, hit that like button. Tell about Kamala Harris, y'all. Kamala Harris. I think she going on like a book run or something. But in this book run, she is exposing the Democratic Party. She must gonna fall out of politics. I think she might be done. She made enough money, ruined enough lives. You know what I mean? I think that's all their sole purpose in politics is anyway. Make some money, ruin some lives, die rich. You hear me? That's what it seems like. It ain't really seem like they're doing anything outside of that. But yeah, one of the reasons I ain't never support Kamala Harris. Well, it's a few reasons. I'm gonna give you every reason. I didn't like the fact that she was posing. You know, she was trying to identify with black people as opposed to just running off politics. Now, one thing I can say is what she said about Donald Trump with this Project 2025. She was right about that. She ain't lie about that shit. But I couldn't get over her post. Hey, Chloe, get over here. I couldn't get over the posing, man. The posing like she was down, like she's from L.A. But then when you look into her family, you realize like she might be from L.A., but she's not from the L.A. that that a lot of us is from. You feel me? Like she ain't from that part of L.A. because of her family. Family got money. I think her father. Let me see what her parents is. What did Kamala Harris' parents do for a living? Look at this shit. A biomedical scientist and an
Kamala
educator.
Harris's mother was a breast cancer researcher, while her father is a retired economist who taught at Stanford University. Both of her parents were immigrants who met as graduate students.
Like, yo, come on, yo. How many of our parents got those jobs, man? You feel me? How many, how many of our parents got those jobs? Hold on, y'all. What the fuck is this? Hold on. Yeah, they had a good life. They had a good life. That's a scab. But yeah, yo. So I ain't never like that, yo. Like I don't think she had to do that. Like she could have just ran off of politics, ran off of policy. Like I don't respect posers on no level. I didn't like the fact that they was trying to sell her to us as a black woman when at one point she was the first Indian state's attorney of Indian descent. You feel me? It's like she was a chameleon, man. Whatever they needed her to be at the time, that's who she was. I couldn't get with that. Couldn't get with that. Couldn't vote for that. Now, with the people that was supporting her wanted to make it seem like it was, is that you don't want to vote for her because she a black woman. And it's like, yo, I can't. And it was black men saying that, and that's another thing that pissed me off. You know, the my sons and them, the Tamika Mallory's and shit. Like, yo, I don't think it's a whole lot of people just sitting back saying, cause she a black, cause she's not even a black woman for one. But let's say she was. I don't think it was people just not willing to vote for her based off of her just being a black woman. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. Now, it might have been people not willing to vote for her because she is a woman. And for a while I didn't understand that concept. And so I think I talked to Rondo podcast. He explained it to me and it makes sense. Yo, what people gotta understand, regardless of how progressive we is in America, if there's countries, and you know, as the president, you're gonna deal with other countries, other leaders. If there's countries that don't respect women, you understand what I'm saying? So it would have made her job much more harder on a world stage. You know, like for conflict resolution. You know, you got the Indians. You got it's a lot of group of people that don't respect women, like far as across the country. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's real. So for her to be the president, yo, it just didn't make business sense. You feel me? What else? Yeah, I just ain't like the fact she was cosplaying as black. And it ain't even just women though. It'll never be a black president either. You feel me? Like yo, people like to say Obama was the first black president. I disagree. Obama is the same. He's a chameleon, like Kamala Harris. You know, he's whatever they want him to be at that time. Like he never identified with the struggles of black Americans. Yo, we're not gonna have a black president until we have a black American descendant of slaves as a president. Somebody that come from the South or something. You feel me? That family heritage is from the South. Other than that, we ain't never have a black president. I don't think we ever gonna have a black president. Maybe not in our lifetime. Maybe one of these years. What's up, Don? Yeah, Project 2025 definitely was real. I gotta give her credit for that. She said that shit was real the whole time. People ain't believe it. I ain't even believe it, to be honest. But no, he definitely implementing that shit. Yo, but that sending the National Guard in, that shit ain't working. Just like I said, it wasn't gonna work. And you had all these, who I think political plants, all over social media praising it. Oh, ain't nobody been outside in Memphis. You know, DC is so peaceful. But I told y'all that yo, they can't stay forever. You feel me? And it was like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. The problems in the black community is not more police. You feel me? I just did a video in Baltimore where the police tried to run over somebody. It's not more police, man. It's economics, it's resources, it's poverty. You don't fix poverty. Poverty creates crime. You don't fix poverty by implementing more police. Like I don't know how people adopted that mentality. It just didn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense to me. Man, salute to the LGBTQ community, man. I support everybody, man. uh, Sam Hyde. Crazy as a motherfucker, bro. And yeah, yo, it's just that shit just wasn't gonna work. It was just I think in DC, shooting in DC. This was a shooting in DC. Shooting in Washington D.C. Two teens shot yesterday. One in critical condition. Violent weekend in DC after 12 shot, including child. Like, yo, that shit wasn't gonna work, man. And man, like I told people, yo, like, yo, people get mad at me for just being too real. I told people, like, yo, all right, the National Guard come down there for whatever amount of time, a week, a month, 2 months. All that's gonna happen is the people that would have got shot in that span that they was there gonna get shot and killed when they leave. You feel me? It's a sad reality. You understand? Wasn't gonna change anything. The people that would have got shot live probably like another whatever 2-3 weeks. Like I don't praise nonsense. Like sending the National Guard to Memphis and all these cities is nonsense. It's nonsense. And the people that was praising it was ignorant. Because that's not the issue. Yo, we got blocks in Baltimore City, police on that bitch every day. All day. Shit still going on. Crimes being committed, drugs being sold. You know what I mean? I done seen shootings while the police was there. You heard me? I done seen shots being fired and the police pulled straight off. Skirt! It ain't police, man. It ain't never been police. It always been economics. Always been economics. The only way you fix crime, like really fix crime, is through opportunity. Opportunity solves crime, y'all. Resources fix crime, man. Jobs fix crime. Education fixes crime. Parenting fixes crime. Resources fixes crime. Not police. Police are a reactionary measure. You understand what I'm saying? You got to stop crime before it starts. Crime starts at the root. And at the root of crime is poverty. So for all the people that was praising that dumbass shit was just stupidity. Ignorance. And then you had other people that was ignorant that got platforms or whatever the fuck that platform is about or who running it. They posting it. And people in that bitch commenting, y'all don't want real change. No, y'all, it's just that some people smart enough to know. Some people smart enough to know that ain't real change. You understand what I'm saying? Like our communities has been over policed for decades. Crime went up. You heard me? Crime ain't slow down. Crime went up. Because you know what else went up? Poverty. You know what else went up? Drug usage. You know what else went up? The caliber of firearms that's being distributed. Yo, just 10, 15 years ago in Baltimore, yo, niggas still had 38s. Yeah, man, not 15 years, 20 years ago, you can still have a 38 and protect yourself. Shit, not nowadays. Now I know it been like that in the South for a long ass time, but in Baltimore, niggas ain't had no motherfucking big ass. Niggas was running niggas down with 38 specials. 38 specials was the handgun of choice. Nowadays, you probably 38 special. Your ass fuck around get laughed at. These niggas got shit that got drums on it. You know what I mean? Banana clips. What they call them bitches, monkey nuts. You heard me. Everything extended. That's the issue in the community, man. Ain't never been no motherfucking more police. There ain't never been more police. That ain't never gonna solve the issue. Ever. And I really just be thinking that Trump is just misinformed. You know, Donald Trump, I'm gonna get to Kamala Harris. But Donald Trump, to me, isn't the same president he was on his last term. I think Donald Trump has been severely compromised since then. And I think they compromised him through them assassination attempts. You know, anybody trying to lose their life for this shit, man. I mean, it is people that's willing to, but Donald Trump ain't. That man, he try to lose his life for that shit, man. Fuck that. Politics is get out or lay down, man. It always been that way. I always tell y'all, politics, the streets emulate politics. So when everybody try to, talk down on the streets and streets this and the streets that, blame politics, man. Blame politics, man. Politics is what created the streets. I told y'all, Democrats blue, Republicans red, Bloods red, Crips blue. It's the same concept, man. Same concept, gang banging. If you're aligned with them parties, you're officially a part. You're a part of a gang. You just don't know it. Just don't know it. You being misled, just like the young boys that was misled during in the motherfucking gangs. You don't even realize it. You being led astray too. Being led astray too. Bullfrog. Yep, here's how I pay these. Yo, Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this. Such a space with Susan. This ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. It's too much money involved for it to have anything to do with Jesus. Anything built in money is built in evil. And I don't think Jesus is evil. But Kamala Harris just did an interview. You gotta hit the cash app. Appreciate the $1.99. Laws down copyright me.
Confidence is not a mindset.
Good money part, that's what I'm saying. Money is politics. Fuck being part of politics. Money is politics. That's all it's about. That's why they fight so hard. Now, they make it seem like they fighting for the people, but they're not fighting for the people. They fighting for their interests. That mean the interests of their lobbyists. You understand what I'm saying? If the people can benefit in the process, great. Yeah, but that's not the sole focus. Don't ever think the sole focus of political figures and this political back and forth that's going on is about the people. Nah, hell no. Not us. Not the everyday citizen. I believe in God, man. I ain't no devil worshiper.
I want to go back to election night. You've gone into that day feeling optimistic, but then you get a call from your campaign manager.
Yeah, go right here.
I'm going to just be honest. There were times where Joe Biden greatly disappointed me. And frankly, angered me. Like on the day of my debate with Trump, the stakes were so high. And the president calls.
Let me run here real quick.
It just was so unnecessary.
You took something from that.
His motivation was all about himself.
Do you think he wanted you to win the election? Madam Vice President, there's nothing you said I couldn't ask you.
Because I have a lot to say. And so...
Okay, so do you wish you hadn't ran?
No, but I do regret that we did not have more time.
And then the debate that came before with Biden and Trump, it was a car crash. I mean, this was clearly an individual that was very much struggling.
He didn't want that debate. I could tell something was a little off.
How'd you know?
Well, I could start with this.
And what about not going on Joe Rogan's show?
I definitely regret that we didn't do it. But there's a lot of games being played.
And then on that night when the election hasn't gone your way, what would I have seen if I was a fly on the wall in the room?
I was in a state of shock. Like, I haven't felt anything similar to the emotion I felt that day, other than the grief I felt when my mother died. And I knew what was going to happen to our country. So I had a hard time reconciling that we can't still do something about it, because I grew up in an environment where everyone was fighting for justice and for equality. So I do think about how different it could have been, but sometimes the fight takes a while.
Does that mean that you're going to run again? I see messages all the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed. And thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us. And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Madame Vice President, how are you doing?
I am well. I mean, all things considered, I am well. My family is good health, so I start there. But otherwise, it's a troubling time.
What are the full range of emotions? When you said all things considered, what's the full picture there?
Everything from grateful and feeling very blessed to extremely troubled, disappointed, concerned of the state of our country and by extension the world. Like a lot of people who are watching the news and reading the news, there's a state of anxiety. What will happen next? I often have found myself saying to people, it may get worse before it gets better. And so the knowledge of that, perhaps the anticipation of that, I think keeps me and many others on edge.
Do you believe that? Do you believe it could get worse before it gets better?
I think it's very possible. Every day, because actually during the book tour, I've said it to audiences, and in one city, and then the next day something happens. There's a lot that's very unpredictable about this administration, although there is almost all of it that I did predict.
Now, I know you only had 107 days to potentially intervene in the course of history, but when you see these things playing out that you're referring to, that incite those feelings you have of frustration, a little bit of anxiety, etc., do you feel a sense of like responsibility in a weird way? Because there was a percentage chance of sort of intervening in these things. This is a complex question to ask, but it's...
I do think about how different it could have been. I do think about it in the context of the number of people who are being impacted in such a horrible way. I think of it in terms of the number of people who are existing and living in utter fear right now. Afraid of being attacked, or afraid of being targeted with hate, much less misinformation. I do. And I know that the race that I ran for president of the United States, the outcome of that election is what has happened. And it would have been different. It would have been very different. I try not to allow myself to think too much this way, I will tell you that, because I, for better and worse, really do like to be centered on the present.
So let's go. I want to understand the set of circumstances that created someone like you, because you're an anomaly. There's a lot of firsts that appear in your career. But if we start at the beginning, what is the context that shapes someone to become such an anomaly in their professional career?
My parents and the community that raised me. My mother arrived from India in the United...
Yo, what community raised her, man? Yo, do anybody know what community raised her? Is she going to elaborate on this community, or is she going to act like the black community raised her? Let's see what she do, man. And more likely going to copyright
States at the age of 19 by herself. My mother naturally, at that young age, became aligned with the civil rights movement.
There we go with the bullshit. Here we go. Yo, she better provide some goddamn proof to this shit. I mean it. Yeah, she better provide. I want to see some pictures of Bob Hughes getting arrested. Pictures with Malcolm X or something. Yo, she better have just said that shit without no motherfucking proof, man. Yeah, of course. Like that was... Yo, let me tell you something, right? Let me put y'all deep with something, right? Yo, I talked to my grandma. My grandmother 81. And she said the young kids back then, didn't really align with the civil rights movement. That was the older folks. So for her saying her mother, I mean, this is in Baltimore though, so maybe it was different in Cali. But this is what my grandmother told me. I was surprised. I didn't know that. She said, yeah, that was more the older folks that aligned with that. We just was on the sideline. That's what my grandmother told me. She's 81 right now. Yeah, can now. If she was there for the cause, you know what I mean? We see he comes to Joe, what the fuck, the Bernie Sanders. Comes to Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. You feel me? We got to see comes to my abduction for this story to be believable, right? Yeah, that's funny as shit. Yeah, we gotta see comes on it, yo. At least start getting in the back of the paddy wagon or something.
Berkeley and Oakland, California. Met my father, who had been a national scholar in Jamaica. They fell in love, and here I am. My sister and I were born, and we were born in an environment where everyone was fighting for justice and for freedom and for equality. Every message we got was, you are important and you have a duty to figure out how you're going to participate.
I noticed this as I was reading through your story, how service and...
This is the opposite of what my grandmother told me, man. How many people to their grandparents in their 80s? This is the opposite of what she told me, man. She's creating this perception that everybody was involved, and it wasn't. It was the older folks. The people that was, and my grandma was a teenager. My grandma was a teenager when King died. Matter of fact, she was an adult. Early 20s. Grandma was in her 20s when King died. Civil rights movement. And she said she did not align with that shit. She watched it. She knew what was going on. But the older folks was the ones on front line.
Helping others seems to be so interwoven into your DNA. Mm-hmm. And even we spoke to Doug, your husband, and he was telling me a story about your first date with him.
What did he tell you?
Well, apparently you made a remark on that first date that you're here to help people and to serve people.
What the fuck? She helped a lot of niggas go to prison. Like, I hate these interviews, man. Like, yo, these people don't go to real people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who this guy is. I know he got 13 million followers. More than likely, he's compromised and a part of the system. Probably work for the Democrats. Yo, because the narrative I got on this girl was arrest. You know what I mean? She was arresting niggas. Falsely. Some people. During the height of the crack epidemic, she was one of the main ones sending niggas to jail. I don't know what the fuck type of help that was. But I'm gonna let her continue.
He told me many things. We just of what Doug said. Very fascinating. He's very in love with you, by the way.
I'm very in love with my husband, and he's very funny. I hope you got a sense of
He
it
was
too.
a hilarious guy.
Yeah, well, he and I.
Let me know if we don't get clear. Said white people getting killed? God damn it, man. Pray for the white people, man. There'll be not need white people getting killed out here, man. Straight up. It's enough white on white violence going on. We don't need no hurricanes taking them out. Yo, pray for the white people in Jamaica, man.
I had such different careers, both of us being lawyers, right? He went immediately into private practice. I never wanted to be in private practice. It was never about money for me. It was always about people. How could I do the work that was about protecting?
How was that racist? Yo, what the fuck? I'm dead, sir. Kill your head, you go with that bullshit, man. I didn't say anything racist, y'all. I said pray for the white people. Yo, they said it. I'm just repeating it. The hell? Yo, you be tripping me out, man.
People
Okay, what it is?
and giving people dignity.
Why protecting people?
No,
I think there's a lot that has to do also maybe with birth order. I'm the eldest. And from the age of 2 years old, my mother told me, take care of your sister. Look out for your sister.
Two years old, yo. Yo, 2 years old, yo. Yo, can you remember anything at 2 years old? 2 years old? Like, that's like a year away from... That's like 2 years away from the womb. The fuck? That's a year away from one. Yo, she said... At 2 years old, her mother told her to take care of your sister. Yeah, I don't think nobody can remember shit at 2 years old. Yo, you crazy motherfucker. Yo, I said white on white crime is an issue, yo. We talk about black on black crime for years. Killjoy, let's not do that. Let's be fair here, man. Let's be fair here.
Told me, take care of your sister. Look out for your sister. You've got all kinds
All
of
the
stuff
pictures,
there.
yeah, I've been through everything.
Yeah, this is my sister Maya.
That's you protecting her.
And that's me protecting her. I grew up also, seeing my mother, who was a 5-foot-tall brown woman with an accent, would be treated. And she taught me this, my extended family taught me, but then I also witnessed the importance of making sure that all people, that their dignity.
Yo, he supposed to ask who's our extended family. What's up, Killjoy? You know you my man, man. Yo, what's up? He supposed to elaborate it. Extended family. Who the fuck are these people? Never heard of them before. Can you elaborate more on this extended family, Miss Harris? Let us know more about them, since they taught you so much.
Is respected and protected. And because I have lived a life to see where that doesn't always happen.
So you decide to focus on law in public practice. You have a phenomenal career from that point onwards. It's really remarkable what you're able to accomplish. And this is, I guess, where a lot of the firsts come in, because from the age of 24 to 51, you rise from Deputy District Attorney to California's Attorney General, becoming the first woman and first Black person to hold both roles.
Now she black again. Now, during this time, I can go to the video. During this time, they say she was the first Indian woman to hold that role. But I guess it doesn't serve a purpose to be Indian anymore. But if I was of Indian, if I was Indian like she is, I would be upset with her, man. How you just gonna disown them as a race? Salute to the Indians, man.
You led major reforms in that time, including securing $25 billion in homeowner relief after the 2008 crisis, launching the Back on Track LA rehabilitation program, and making California the first state to mandate body cameras for justice agents, and much more. An incredible career up until that point. That could have been it. You could have bowed out at that point and celebrated.
But there's so much more to be done. There's so much more to be done. I think one of my strengths and weaknesses is I like to solve problems, but that means that I tend to, once a problem has been addressed, move on to the next one without maybe taking the time to pat myself on the back, because now it's time to move on to the next issue.
During your career, you saw some horrific things. That's the nature of your job. You deal with the darkest parts of reality.
The worst parts of human behavior and nature I've seen. Yeah, you're right.
Give me some context there. What does that mean in reality?
Well, for a while I specialized in child sexual assault, which is about the most horrendous of abuse and crime, which is an adult abusing a child. And those cases were so difficult for so many reasons. I mean, there's a couple that I remember in particular where where the children were so young that they wouldn't be able to testify. One was an elementary school little girl. And I mean, I remember going.
I want to hear her talk about the marijuana arrest. Marijuana arrest is what lock niggas up for weed and shit. 3 strikes.
Into the bathroom of the courthouse and crying because I knew a jury would not have enough to convict. And it broke my heart. I mean, and I have thought about that little girl, years and years and years later.
Right, lying.
But those cases, it's the worst of human behavior, which is we as a society should be in the business of...
Yo, you can't do that without referencing the case. You gotta reference the case, man. What case is it so people can look it up? I hate when people do that. I hate when people speak on a situation like that and then don't reference the case. You ain't gotta reference the girl, you can reference the suspect. Let us look it up, see what the fuck happened. See if it's real or not. Fuck, I made that shit up. Yo, a lot of these people be making shit up, yo, for stories. I don't know if y'all noticed that a lot. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but a lot of them do it. These academics, it ain't just pop bloggers do it.
Protecting children and protecting their vulnerability so that they can thrive. But I've prosecuted homicide cases. I've prosecuted fraud cases.
How does one deal with all of this stress and responsibility? Of that, the public feedback, the pressure, the responsibility of potentially running the free world basically and becoming the most powerful person on earth, and the ups, the downs, the attacks, the child abuses. How does is there other ideas or principles that you've developed to deal with such pressure?
Well, that's right, but I work out every day.
Yep.
I work out every morning, no matter how little sleep I've had. I just find it to be just mind, body, and soul.
Have you changed over time?
Oh, for sure, I've changed over time. The pressure has changed in magnitude. But the pressure that I feel in terms of my sense of personal responsibility has not changed. I hold myself to a very high standard, and I tend to be a perfectionist, even though I am far from perfect. I mean, even during the 107 days, every night, I would stay awake thinking what more could I have done with that one day.
24-year-old Kamala Harris, who starts as that sort of eventually becomes a deputy district attorney. If I sat her there, and you're sat there now as Madam Vice President, what would be the notable differences in personality, mentality, in perspective?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's changed, but she was fearless.
She was fearless.
She was fearless. She didn't hear no, it can't be done. And whether it was the first case that I had, and I was a young prosecutor, and I was going through the files, and it was a Friday evening, and I realized that the person who had been arrested had young children at home, a woman, and all the courts were shutting down, and I went to the courtroom, and I asked the judge, please take the bench again. She has young children. She can't stay in over the weekend.
Yo, where's the case? We need context. Fuck that. If that happened, we need context, man. Is anybody aware of this case where she did this? Like, we need, you can't just say things like this. To me, anyway. I don't know how everybody else feel. But when you say things like this, I need to be able to look it up. Like, I'm not really into just word play. I need proof. I need validation. You understand? Let's go back. Let's
shutting down, and I went to the courtroom and I asked the judge, please take the bench again. She has young children. She can't stay in over the weekend. And the clerk was like, nope, he's gone for the day. He's leaving for the day. And I would not leave. And they called the case, but not hearing no, that has been probably a through line of my life.
Yeah, where's the person she did this shit for? Fuck, we need to hear from her. I mean, can anybody vouch for this story? The kids, the lady, the judge, the clerk, the bailiff, anybody. Can anybody vouch for these? We just listen to Kamala Harris stories. But she's not adding no names to them. She's just telling them. And we just supposed to believe it because it sounds honorable. Yeah, we just supposed to believe him, man. Yeah, you say things like this, you should be able to provide proof. Like, these are cases. They got case numbers. Yeah, man, they got people's names. Like, cases are public records. You understand what I'm saying? It's public records. We should be, you don't have to hide that. We can, the people can do their due diligence and look it up. The money.
Rest easy with the idea that something is not possible. At least I don't rest easy with it without trying to show that it is possible. And that's probably not changed. I also have started to sit better with the idea but you can't change everyone.
How does that change your approach, knowing that you can't change everybody?
I'm better able to assess a situation to figure out what is the potential there.
Okay. Yeah.
And be perhaps a bit more realistic without being, I think, jaded about it. Yeah.
And I guess that's wisdom and experiences.
Yeah, it comes with I think, a bit of experience.
Which allows you to be more efficient and effective.
And that's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because that is how I reconcile it.
This guy said he from London or some motherfucker. He only said he American.
Which is, the effort is better placed somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at what point in this journey did you realize that you wanted to be president of the United States? Like, was there a lunch or a dinner you had with Doug? When does that decision get made in your career?
It was when I was in the Senate.
Yeah.
Docs, tabs, and files aligned. But marketing's campaign. It was when I was in the Senate.
Yeah.
I ran into a friend who came up. Doug and I were at basically a family table in a local restaurant eating. And he said to me, you should run for president. And it had not occurred to me until then. It had not occurred to me to run for president.
I'm so sick of this shit. I'm about sick of politicians, right? He asked her, when did you decide to run for president? Me and Doug, we was in a local restaurant, and a friend walked up to me and said, you should become president. And it was at that moment that I decided, you know what? I should become president. Like, yo, come on, man. Give us more than that shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is why I could never take us serious as a candidate, right? I could never take us serious as a candidate, right? Like, yo, come on now. I can't fuck with politics. I ain't gonna lie. None of these motherfuckers. Just a random store. You don't get the name of the store. You don't give, shit, what was y'all eating? Take us through the day, right? I mean, was it a sunny day? Was it nice out? She could have been. She probably hosted them. I don't know. I want a little bit more insight into that. And see, they don't do interviews with people that's gonna, pick these stories apart. They just ultimately let them talk. You just let them talk. See, believe. It's like, just believe me. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna give you I ain't gonna provide no details. I ain't gonna give you no context. I said it, so believe it. Like that's the mind frame of the politician. They think everybody's stupid.
There are people who are born thinking they're going to be president. There are people who look in the mirror every day and see a president.
There are people that are groomed to be president. That's what the fuck it is. That's really what it is. They groomed to be. Now I guess you could say that's born to be too, but I think groomed is a better word to use.
I was not one of those people. But then the thought, it kind of germinated. And then, of course, being vice president and doing the work of vice president of the United States, I met with over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. I've negotiated very important deals and issues on behalf of the American people. I've spent countless hours, not only in the Oval Office, but the Situation Room and traveling around the world. And so in those 107 days, I was fully aware of not only the importance of the job, but fully aware that I had the experience and knowledge to be able to do it effectively.
I mean, this is one of the things. I was actually talking to a friend of mine downstairs, Lucy Mangini, who sat out there, and we were talking about.
Well, he needed to ask her, Angel, who was running the country when Biden was in office? Because Biden didn't have the mental capabilities to run nothing. Like, I don't think that nigga would have been able to run a motherfucking a power drill. I think that'd be the better question. Who really ran the country? Because it was obvious that Joe Biden mental capacity wasn't at his peak, during his presidency. So if you don't mind me asking, who was running the country at that time? Seemed like we was on cruise control. I mean, prices went through the roof. Gas was at $7, $12 in some states. Like, who the fuck ran that shit? Price gouging. Ask about price gouging. What did you feel during a time when price gouging was a major issue? It's still an issue, but it was a major issue back during that presidency. What was your mind frame? Did you have any solutions to fix it? Like, real questions, man. Like, I think the American people deserve real questions and answers. Not this shit.
About this idea of, like, does imposter syndrome ever leave you? And imposter syndrome is a bit of a loaded term, but you kind of assume that people in higher places than you are have some, like, genetic or mental or some gift. They have all the answers, but the higher you climb, with your own continued naivety, you start to suspect that no one really is genetically gifted or, like, has some superpower that you don't have.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you've experienced that in your career, where the higher you've climbed, you've realized that actually everybody up here is like, I'm like that, like, or I'm at least on their level. Have you had that experience in your career?
Yes, I have. But I've also had the imposter syndrome experience, and that was when I was first elected DA. And I challenged then the incumbent. I started out at 6 points in the polls. 6 out of 100. People recently asked me about polls. Well, if I listened to polls, I would have never run for my first office, and therefore we wouldn't be having this interview probably. And I won, and it was not expected that I would, at least when I jumped in the race. And there I was sitting in the office, and I thought, oh my God, I'm now the elected DA of a major city in the United States. In hindsight, we call it imposter syndrome. To your point, maybe it is a very loaded term, because I think there's nothing wrong with having, and I think that there's a lot that is good with having a certain level of humility. And in particular, when the people have vested you with great power, right? To understand it's not about you, right? I think that is part parcel of what when we call imposter syndrome, or who has it. I think often it is because they understand how serious the job is on behalf of others.
Yeah.
And I applaud a bit of humility, honest humility, not feigned humility.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are plenty of people that are, self-deprecating for the sake of the shtick of it all.
Yeah.
But yes, to your point,
Does that
the higher you go, it does because the more you're exposed to being, the more you're in the rooms with the people who otherwise feel untouchable, the more you understand that they are not untouchable.
Like we're funny.
The more you understand, everyone's got a little dust on them.
Yeah.
And they're not everyone's shiny.
But it's liberating to know that's the case, because we all put this ceiling above us.
Yeah.
And we think my level and everyone above that has some gift that I will never be able to attain. So I won't even that ceiling because
Who the fuck thinks that? I ain't never thought no shit like that. Have you ever thought that? Have you ever thought that people above you got a gift that you can't attain? Is that a common thought in American society? Because I ain't never in my life thought no shit like that. I be thinking these motherfuckers is plants. The fuck you mean? I be thinking they plants is sellouts. Maybe that's the gift. The gift to sell out. I can't attain that. Maybe it's the gift to sell out. But other than that, like far as like knowledgeable about things and shit like that, like I ain't never looked at no group of people or nobody and thought that this person can do something that I couldn't do. I ain't never thought that. Have anybody else thought that? It's new to me. First time I ever heard that.
I didn't deserve to be up there.
But and also don't discount the signals that many people are sent that you don't belong there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I especially when I'm mentoring
that came before you, and frankly they all look the same. So one might fall into the trap of thinking that then I can't do this job. That's what I think. Logical pattern recognition. It might think, if I'm not one of these here, one of these men here with this suit on and this kind of hair and this age, then that's not a position I can thrive in.
I'll see you and add one.
Okay.
And everyone else thinks that this is the image of who can do the job.
Yeah.
So the added challenge is not only the limitations one puts on themselves, but the limitations one might be met with around other people's perceptions about who can do what.
And have you had that through your career?
I agree with that.
Is there any particular examples that always sit at the front of your mind where you really, really felt that the room you were in, people were discounting you purely based on appearance or gender or race or anything like that?
I mean, there are times in my career when I walked in the room and someone said, something along, if they didn't know me, if they didn't know what they were walking into, they were waiting for my boss.
And how did you deal with that? How did you stop?
You may often be the only one who walks into a boardroom, a courtroom, a meeting room.
Are we clear?
But when you walk in that room, chin up, shoulders back, knowing there are so many people who are not in that.
How did you earn respect as a leader? Let's listen to that. That also garners that respect. Just when you speak, you don't rush. And I think people that are younger in their career, they tend to
yeah, right.
Because they're kind of almost trying to excuse the amount of time they're taking, and they kind of are a bit
right.
more. I'm just wondering if there's any tools in that regard that have helped.
It's important to have some sense of conceptually. And not that you have to rehearse what you're going to speak before you speak it, but do have a sense of what you intend to communicate. And I think it's also important to, especially with complex issues in the context of a discussion, deconstruct in your mind what the issue is so you can speak logically.
And what about appearance generally? Do you think much about that? So do you think much about, because you look your outfit's stunning today.
You're very
Does it matter?
Sadly, it does.
It does.
I mean, depending on context. Sadly, it does. We are still, I think, in a world where the way you appear when you walk in the room impacts first impressions. Including just, for example, again, their watch or their phone.
Yeah, everything she said, but talking. At the very least, she's talking, and we just listening.
If you've walked in the room on time. And will judge something about your character. The piece of how you look that is going to suggest the pride that one has in themselves as a matter of self-respect. I mean, I've
Appreciate it, Ken. Now.
this is, I grew up in the black church. You dress up.
Here the fuck she go again. Here she go again. Yo, can she do an interview with just leave black people alone? Keep black people out this shit, yo. Black people ain't got shit to do with Kamala Harris. Like, yo, this how I grew up in the church. Why is it I had to grow up in a black church? I grew up in the church, man. A lot of us grew up in church. Like, then they show this picture. Look, where the rest of the congregants? Yeah, man, where the rest of the congregants, man? We're past that. Give us a better picture than this, man. Now, if you're gonna say that and post a picture, show us the whole church. I mean, is this still a black church? Is this church still around? I just be wanting more details. That's all.
And it's a reflection of your dignity and the respect you have for the place that you may be.
And in January 2019, you launched your presidential campaign for the first time, which was up until you dropped out later that year in December.
Correct.
Why did you drop out of that presidential race? What's the full context behind the scenes?
There was a lot there. Mostly, we ran out of money.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot of lessons, obviously, about running. But that was the main reason.
And at some point, you get a call from Mr. President.
Mm-hmm. Got a call from then Democratic nominee Joe Biden. We FaceTimed. It was during the height of COVID.
Yeah.
And he asked me to be his running mate. And it was a great honor, and I was honored to do it.
Did you have any inclination before that moment that he was going to ask you? Had there been like a side conversation?
So, no, I had an interview, and it was like something out of a spy movie where I had my assistant drove me to one location. This was in D.C., and then it was a mall. And then I got out of that car to get in another car that was, because the press were watching everything to see there was a short list that was out, who was going to be. So we had to do this whole clandestine thing. And then I got into another car being driven by one of his assistants. And
that's like she was kidnapped. That's like a prototypical kidnapping. he said I got in one car, then I got in another car, then I got in another car. I'd have been like, was you blindfolded? I mean, I'd ask her, that's what she blindfolded. Yeah.
We went to this, this very circuitous route to a house, and then through the back door, the windows were closed, the shades were closed, and I had my interview. Went back because Doug and I were in our apartment in D.C. because I was senator at the time. And again, height of COVID. Then the press vans were parked out front. And we would just want to go for a walk. Remember, during COVID, everyone just wanted to get some fresh air. They must have thought we couldn't see them. They were like an unmarked vans. So from time to time, I just walked up to them and say, look, we're going to get some coffee. Can I bring you anything back? We'll be right back, right? The day I actually got the call from Joe Biden asking me to run with him was the same day earlier where one of my girlfriends has a house in Virginia, and it was the end of summer, and she had all these beautiful end of summer tomatoes. I like to cook. She brought me this big box of tomatoes, and I was going to make a bunch of marinara and freeze it. Then I get the call from him. I said yes, of course. And I don't know, it felt like within seconds.
Nah, y'all, do black women be making marinara? Is that a trait of a black woman? You know, crush tomatoes and make marinara? I don't know. I ain't never seen my grandmother do it. My mother did. I ain't never seen none of the black women in my family make a big old tray of marinara. Yeah, how many of y'all people do that? Big trays of marinara, man. Marinara for everybody. I don't know, y'all. Maybe that come from my Indian background, her Indian heritage. Oh, she made a big plate of marinara. What the fuck is you talking about? Read what it is.
A parade of people walk into our apartment with a parade of binders, sit down, everyone's in masks, to tell us, okay, this is what the campaign's going to be. And because I hate to waste food, every one of them walked out with me handing them tomatoes as they left.
I'm so intrigued to know. I've done many interviews in my life. I've been in a couple of interviews myself. How does someone get interviewed to be the vice president? Like, what are the questions one is asked?
Well, having been in the position of both being the interviewer and the interviewee, it really, as much as anything, comes down to chemistry.
Oh, okay.
Because by the time that interview is happening, it's usually narrowed down to about 3 people. So all the vetting has been done. I mean, the vetting, I had such a truncated experience when I was running for president of just a couple of weeks, but I think Joe Biden took like 9 weeks to make a decision. And so there's vetting. When I was being vetted for vice president, I had a, 9-hour interview with a lawyer going through everything, my taxes, my professional record, everything that was, everything. I mean, talk about it. Colonoscopy. Just virtually, that's kind of what it was. And so when all of that has been done and it's kind of green light through that, then it's about sitting down and just deciding, because it's going to be a partnership, right? And it has to be. It has to be where you feel that you can trust someone, you could work with them, you're doing it for the same reasons.
Was it what you thought it was going to be?
Being vice president?
Yeah.
She got financial stable black. This lady full of shit, man. Could never get on my vote. Keep making shit up. This bitch making tomato soup and shit. Claiming black. But me and that bitch making marinara sauce and shit. Gotta make some motherfucking sweet potatoes or something. Sweet potato pie or something. Shit. Oh, this bitch making marinara sauce. Yeah, you know, I make my famous. Now I got my famous marinara. Like what? I never heard that before, man.
Having been in the position of both being the interviewer and the interviewee, it really, as much as anything, comes down to chemistry.
Oh, okay.
Because by the time that interview is happening, it's usually narrowed down to about 3 people. So all the vetting has been done. I mean, the vetting, I had such a truncated experience when I was running for president of just a couple of weeks.
I just wanted to show that real quick, because she full of shit. I don't believe nothing she said. I don't believe anything she said, y'all. All you got is a one time to tell a blatant lie, and I can't fuck with you. She told blatant lies, man. I gotta get ready to start working. I'm out here in the fucking rain today, man. Hate working in the fucking rain. Excuse me. Wearing my Ravens hat today, yo, so I know a lot of people gonna be pissed off. What the fuck? Oh, they have it. What time is this for? 12:20. Hold on. Yeah, we gotta go through the cross examination of Alicia Andrews. I mean, of that detective too. We probably gonna do that sometime today.
But I think Joe Biden took like 9 weeks to make a decision. And so there's vetting. When I was being vetted for vice president, I had a, 9-hour interview with a lawyer going through everything, my taxes, my professional record, everything. Everything. I mean, talk about a colonoscopy. Just virtually, that's kind of what it was. And so when all of that has been done and it's kind of green light through that, then it's about sitting down and just deciding, because it's going to be a partnership, right? And it has to be. It has to be where you feel that you can trust someone, you could work with them, you're doing it for the same reasons.
Was it what you thought it was going to be?
Being vice president?
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what it would be because there's nothing that can compare to it. I mean, I was the 49th vice president of the United States. There have only been 48 before me, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think anything can truly prepare you for what it is, because it is a very unique position where you are, again, you are number 2 in command. So the seriousness of the responsibility is that. I give all credit to now the late President Jimmy Carter, who decided when he was president, having come off of Kennedy and Nixon and everything, he decided that the vice president should be given greater responsibilities than had been the case, because God forbid something happens to the president, there should be a smooth succession. And so Walter Mondale was his vice president and was the first to have an office in the West Wing. The responsibilities were, again, to meet with world leaders. The responsibilities were to travel the country on behalf of our administration and our policies. It's an incredible responsibility. And, meeting with the variety of people who, for the most part, just want us to achieve good things.
She acting like,
When I was reading your book, 107 Dead.
she acting like she did an awesome job or something. Like, yo, When her and Biden was running the country, yo, this shit was fucked up, yo. Like, yo, she really speaking like she did great. Like, she deserved a pat on the back. Yo, they ran this country into the fucking ground, man. Like, people might not like what Trump is doing or saying, yo, but gas prices are stable. Prices in the market went down from what it used to be. Like, I don't really, what's up, dope? I don't really get into the rhetoric, you know. I actually prefer the rhetoric. And I don't even agree with Trump in a lot of things that he's doing now. I think Trump is compromised, like I said. I think he was a better president in his last term. But I don't like political talk. You feel me? I'd rather you just be who you is all the time. You know what I mean? If you cuss in public, cuss on the motherfucking podium. That's just me. Other people might say I'm wrong for that. But that's just how I am, man. Like, I don't like political talk. Cause yo, political talk is filled with lies and deceit. You know what I mean? They lie right to you. They lie to you right in front of your face. Not saying Trump always tell the truth. I'm just saying. If you're gonna, I just can't fuck with political talk, man. I don't agree with it. Yo, shit was fucked up, yo, when Biden was in office. I think that might have been the fucked up I ever seen in the United States. You feel me? Like, yo, shit, in my lifetime, but you know, I ain't live as long as others, but that might have been the most fucked up I ever seen. Everything went through the roof, like everything, and it's like he had no control of it. Like, goddamn, bro, you can't do nothing to lower prices. Like, motherfuckers out this bitch struggling. You hear me? Man, you got a motherfucker sell dope, work a full-time job, do Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash. The fucking survive. I'm trying to tell you, you gotta do it all. That shit was crazy, right? Hold on, let me see if they put this call on me yet. That's not. The fuck is going on? I don't know. Fuck it.
Days. One of the really surprising things was that also makes sense when I understand human nature was that you talk about how some of the president's staff were basically suppressing you a little bit, suppressing your accomplishments because you're a threat to them. And I think you were told pretty early on, or you'd heard pretty early on from a chief of staff that the vice president is kind of seen as a threat to the president.
So the lore has it that the outgoing chief of staff to the president will tell the incoming chief of staff to the incoming president, regardless of political party. Rule number one, watch the vice president. Lore has it that that's the case. And then I had, of course, run against Joe Biden. I was very and acutely aware that I would have to over and over again prove my loyalty, that it wouldn't be assumed.
You say that the president's staff was adding fuel to negative narratives that sprung up about me.
Yeah.
The president's inner circle seemed fine with it. Indeed, it seemed as if they decided I should be knocked down a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I read that. But at the same
crazy.
time, understood it. Because it's human nature. But also shocked. Because one wouldn't expect.
And it was counterproductive. It was absolutely counterproductive.
Was there a particular moment where you realized that this was happening? For the first time?
No, so now
To
we
be
know.
candid with you,
So now we know that they was beefing, y'all. Now Now it makes sense, y'all. They didn't trust each other. They was over that business. They didn't trust each other in the White House, y'all. There we know why the country was ran the way it was ran. There's a lot of backdooring going on. I mean, you had to sleep with one eye open. You feel me? That's the fuck was going on. Oh, all right. About fucking time. All right, if I gotta get to work. Next live, yo, we gonna go through the Lisa Andrews trial, Julio Fulio murder case. Man, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share the live. That's fucking Kamala Harris. Wild as a motherfucker, man. Crazy ass. Out here lying and shit. Like I said, she ain't lie, yo. I wouldn't have had no problem with her. She was posing, man. I don't like posers. But same reason I don't fuck with Obama. But it's another day. Keep it G News.